Hi, I'm Tim Roble, and welcome to another episode of Adventure Athlete. Today I'm going to talk about several reasons why you might want to select certain electric motorcycles to do the job that works for you. So I have the Alpha Stark Varg here, and I got it with the left-hand rear brake and an 18-inch rear tire, which now the front and rear has tubeless in it, and you can see I got my Decal Works graphics on. Bike looks amazing. I absolutely love this motorcycle. Best motorcycle I've had out of the box, and maybe I'll say even in modified state. This is the best motorcycle I have ridden. I absolutely love it. So let's talk about what I bought this motorcycle for. I am going to do a little motocross on it. You're going to catch me next week out at Glen Helen. I'll have some GoPro footage. I'm not sure if I can put a drone in the air there, but definitely going to do some GoPro footage and range testing on that and what I think about that. Not really the reason I bought this motorcycle. I'm a extreme enduro guy. I race enduro cross from time to time, and I think this will be a perfect weapon for that. As I'm getting older, I developed the adventure athlete thing to go out and just train for cool stuff, train for King of the Motos, do some stuff. So this bike suits me really well, and so far the range on it has been more than enough for what I need. So that's going to be the first thing that I'm going to talk about the two motorcycles is range. Both of these motorcycles, this is my Stark Varg, and this would be my Electric Motion Escape XR. It's their new model for 2024. May even be like a pre-25 model. But this has kind of replaced my Trials motorcycle. Really a neat motorcycle, and we'll get more into that. But neither of these motorcycles have a easy swappable battery. For this type of riding where you're doing trials and bigger stuff, I can ride this bike longer than I want to ride. Just totally being honest. It has, I don't think I've even taken this down to half battery yet. And it's worked really, really well. But for electric technology, I really do feel that like a trials or extreme platform works really well for the battery. As you're holding the throttle wide open on a motocross track, you're burning through battery super, super quick. But when you're balancing on a trials type bike or you're riding single track, which would be first and second gear type stuff, I like the technical. I like up boulders and faces and stuff, but that's why I don't have an issue with the range and not having a hot swappable battery. Would the hot swappable battery be a thing? Yes, it would. I would own an extra battery on both of these motorcycles, even at like $3,500 a pop. I would do that because then that allows me to pull one out and maybe do a race. But as it stands right now, you're not able to really, I'm not able to do the type of racing other than in enduro cross and competing in trials. That's where these motorcycles actually really work out well for me. While we're talking about technical bikes, I had a question today. A guy was asking me about the Chiron and what my experience was with them. So before I even bought my first electric motion, I ordered my E-Pure race in 2020 and paid in full for it and just sat and waited for the 21 to come in. When it came in, I thought that was an amazing motorcycle, and the only reason I sold that is because the XR has a little bit more range, which I really didn't need, but it had a seat, and that allows me to seat bounce stuff and actually get back and paddle if I have to. So when I was running some of the course on King of the Motos this January or December, it just didn't work as well for me as I'd like. So that was my final check on, okay, I'm going to put that for sale. Bike sold in 8 hours, so super stoked with that. So I'm going to go back to pre-2020 when I bought my first Chiron. I actually bought that for my wife. Now that and the electric motion out here are kind of like what I would call like a TTR 125 size. They're a smaller motorcycle, more like a 10-inch travel type thing versus the Stark Varg is a standard like you would get in a KTM 300 or 450. Full travel. Do you need all of that? Yeah, for this bike you do. For what I want to use it for, I think it's amazing, and the suspension came dialed in really right out of the box. Back to that technical terrain thing. A guy asked me about the Chiron because the Chiron is hot swappable. The Ultra B and the Light B definitely are, and I'm not actually familiar with their full-size platform. But what I noticed about trying to ride the Chiron in technical terrain, and I do not have the measurement on that, but I noticed that the swing arm was long and the pegs were somewhat forward. If you look at these two motorcycles, this is kind of like a standard you'd see like on a KTM. I feel like this feels like a KTM to me. It feels like my 450. So if I take a measurement from the rear of the peg, and I've pre-done this already, so I already know the number is going to be right at 22-ish. Looks like we could be like 21, center of the axle, maybe 21 3/4 to 22. And what that does is that's a pretty short swing arm. You notice where everything's at. But you come out here to this electric motion, and why this becomes important when you're doing technical stuff is if you're going to hold pressure on that rear tire, that swing arm length is a lot on what it puts on the tire for you weighting the pressure. So you measure this bike from the back of this peg, and we are at like 15 3/4. It's a big difference, and it's a big difference on traction and being able to be up on a ledge holding pressure. So I'm not sure what the Chiron's measurement is, but I felt like it was super long, and even though when I would get stuck back up and have to rock up and out of something, there's still, I would tend to blow away the rear tire. Even on a stock controller and stock battery, which I had ended up buying two bikes. One was for my wife, and I thought that was super amazing, so I bought her another one. And then I modified mine with the 1821. I did pegs, I did the crossover, I did front and rear forks, I did 1821, taller bars. Ended up having about $11,500 into it, which is about what that bike is right there. So with the electric motion, you get the 1821. With the Stark Varg, you get the 1821. It doesn't come 1919, and then you have to upgrade if you choose to. So that's something to think about. What I love about the Chirons is, man, everybody is making parts for them. You can get the suspension dialed to you. You can get everything set up. Right now, I'm trying to get a pair of front fork springs, or one spring, I'm not even sure, for this motorcycle. The rear is good for my weight, but the front is soft. And I have pretty much the adjusters closed, which isn't good, but it actually works better than having them open. So I have to get a spring for that. And, you know, I think this is one of 50 made. And, you know, it's tougher to get the parts for, although it comes as a all-together type kit. So things to think about, like if you're going to do a competition and race, you know, you may want to think about a swappable battery and figuring out what works for you. Maybe even 3 batteries, depending on what it is and like where you would pour gas on a motorcycle. You could hot swap a battery and continue on with your race. For myself, I'm going to be doing trials on that motorcycle. Let's go talk about that real quick and some of the mods that I've done with this. If you've been following my series, and if you haven't taken the time to like and subscribe, please do, because I got a lot more great content coming out. If you guys like to see certain stuff, please hit me up on what you would like to see. I kind of have a vast knowledge on a lot of stuff. I've raced a lot of stuff, built a lot of stuff, and a lot of cross-utilization of technology. But this bike came with steering stops on it that stuck way out, and when I went to turn it to even put it in the truck, it was more like that. Maybe like that. But now we got a full legitimate lock on it, and this is actually the triple actually contacts that flat spot there. And I'm probably going to end up just putting a rubber bumper on it. But you can look at this frame set and just kind of look at what the E-Pure race is, the Pure Trials bike, and you can see that it's the same thing. And one thing that I didn't know is all of this plastic that comes off, it still leaves this down here. So if you wanted to make this a trials motorcycle, you'd have to do a smaller battery. but you could do that. Same type of frame. They added gussets. They added the steering stops. They added another gusset and some gusset here, and then some inner trussing on the back fender, which makes this a little bit different. I'm waiting to swap out these tires to trials tires until the season starts, but I found these to be pretty adequate. They're kind of gummy, and I will be putting another set of tubeless in this motorcycle. But for the trials type stuff, the extreme terrain riding, I don't think you could ever run yourself out of battery. Mods, basically I took off the rear foot brake. I've been working on my KTM 500. We'll go over to that. I put the 4th generation Recluse in it. Still has the lower foot brake, but you look up here in the spider webs, and you can see that I have a brake, a left-hand rear brake, and no clutch. Something that I've been working with and that works really, really well. This is the Ox brake. If you're interested, I'm not affiliated with them at all, and it works really well. It's way better than the Recluse unit. The Recluse unit I worked with several times to try to get that to be able one finger lock up the rear, and never was able to do it. Put this thing on it, and within seconds, the first stop, it was already there. So totally dialed in. What I did with this bike is I went to the Stark Varg website, and I just basically ordered their Stark rear left brake kit, their hose, and their caliper, hoping that maybe the caliper would be a bolt up. It was not. So I took left the caliper that came on this bike on it and connected the Stark to it. And the transition right here was not right. So long story short, I ended up having to have a hose made because I did crack that when I tried to bend that into a nice place. But set it up. So now I have a bike that has Stark left brake, hand rear brake, and the standard front brake on this. So going back and forth on these two motorcycles should be super easy, and now I don't have something that's down in the rocks. Back to that bike again, I just did taller bars. I did the highway dirt bikes, bar ends, and the BRP little triples that come out, and then I cut these short and re-drilled them, and that works out really nice, and I think it looks really slick. It's a nice setup. Highway dirt bikes, once again, I'm not affiliated with them, but I think they make the best, beefiest handguards. They come in silver only, but I get out Rust-Oleum Professional flat black, and I flat black them, and you can tell I've been up against some rocks here, so easy enough to touch up. I usually just take a piece of cardboard and stick it behind here and hit that and touch it up. It makes it nice and easy. So, questions and comments. I know I've kind of been all over the place on this. This video directly came from a viewer this morning that wanted to know more about the Churons and why I chose the Electric Motion XR over the X and a Churon. The XR was available, the X was not. I think the new X is going to have gears on it, and I prefer not to have anything down in the rocks. This bike is not as exciting and dynamic to ride as the Stark, but it serves its purpose. If I had to go do a gnarly canyon that I haven't explored before, and you're looking at like boulders and stuff that big cars have moved around, and like now there's no trail and you're trying to figure your way out through it, the Electric Motion is definitely the bike for that. And any type of trial stuff, I plan on probably coming back. I'm going to miss the season opener. We're going to be at the beach, but I'll come back and I'll start as a intermediate and then probably move up to clubman by the end of the year, just because I'll be riding more often, and you really have to stay with that type of thing. But on this bike, everything from I'll go out to the Hammers here in probably November and ride Jackhammer, Sledgehammer, Chocolate Thunder. I'll ride some of the old KOM loops. I hope to hook up with Justin Lineweber, which is the race director, and I hope to do a little riding with him while I'm out there and report back on what I think of this bike. That's going to be it for now. I'm looking at you guys for questions and comments and thought processes. I haven't spent any time, well, I should say I had spent a couple of minutes on a Choron Ultra B. Light B, I put some miles on and I absolutely love that bike. I called that the best value on two wheels that you can buy, $4,000, $4,200. And now there's several other like Telerias and other little sub variants of that same concept. But really neat motorcycles to go out and play on. That's going to be it for now. Questions and comments, hit me up. I'm Tim Rubble, and I'll catch you here next time.